Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dive into this really fascinating story about what happens when you ask an AI to do a uniquely human job, in this case, qualitative research. It all starts with a pretty simple request, but it ends up telling us a whole lot about the future of work. So let's get right into it. The whole experiment kicks off with what seems like a straightforward question, but the answer it uncovers, that's anything but simple. It really pulls back the curtain on this huge gap between how we think AI works and how it, actually thinks. All right, so our story starts with a researcher who's curious about using AI for analysis. They give it a pretty standard task. Hey, take all these TV show reviews and just pull out the main ideas. Sounds simple enough, right? And look, the prompt was super clear. They even used the right lingo, asking for codes, which, if you're not familiar, is just what researchers call the labels they use for different concepts. So, the researcher is sitting back, expecting this nice, neat, organized list of insights. But this is what they got back. I mean, what do you even do with this? It's just a jumbled mess of words, right? Like someone threw a bunch of keywords in a blender. You've got Sheldon, ago, boring, liners, all just smashed together. It is absolutely bizarre. Okay, so what in the world happened here? The researcher was, understandably, pretty confused. But they did something really smart. They just asked the AI to explain itself. Hey, how did you come up with that? And the answer? Well, it was a real eye-opener. So it turns out the AI wasn't even trying to interpret the text like a person would. Not at all. It was just taking this statistical shortcut. Basically, it was just looking for patterns in the words without understanding a single bit of the actual meaning. And when you actually look at the AI's process, you see just how robotic it is. First step, it turns every single word into a string of numbers. That's called vectorizing. Then it uses a clustering algorithm to lump reviews with similar numbers together. And the last step, it just pulls out the most frequent words from each of those number groups. That's it. No reading, no understanding, just pure math. And get this, the AI itself basically admits it. It flat out says that this is a quantitative process that works, and I'm quoting here, without human interpretation. It's not trying to understand anything, it's just crunching the numbers. So this really just throws a spotlight on the massive difference between how machines process data and how humans, how we make meaning. And trust me, the gap is way bigger than you probably think. Let's look at a real example to see what I mean. Okay, so take a look at this review. An AI might just scan this and spit back the keywords, right? Used, great, repetitive, unfunny. But a human researcher, they're going to see something way, way deeper. See, a person reads this and they're looking for the idea behind the words. They create these interpretive labels, things like series fatigue or declining humor. These are actual insights, concepts that the AI's math-based approach just completely flies past. And this right here, this is the crucial difference. Their entire approach is flipped upside down. The AI starts from a 30,000-foot view, right? It's scanning the whole forest for patterns. But the human, they start on the ground, looking at each individual tree, understanding it, and then they start to piece together what the forest actually looks like. It's top-down versus bottom-up. Yeah, when you lay it out like this, the difference is just stark. A human researcher, their superpower is interpretation, nuance. They work from the ground up to get to that really deep insight. The AI assistant? Its superpower is insane speed and finding patterns. It works from the top down to just give you a place to start. They're completely different tools built for totally different jobs. But you know what? This discovery didn't make the researcher throw in the towel on AI, not at all. Actually, it led to this really powerful realization. Maybe, just maybe, we've been using these tools completely wrong. And this is the million-dollar question, right? If an AI can't really code like a human, if we stop trying to jam it into that box, then what is it good for? What's its real strength? And here is the big aha moment. The researcher basically told the AI, look, your real strength, it isn't being some mindless coding machine. It's about having a conversation about the data. See? It's not a replacement for the human, it's a collaborator, a partner. So the new model is you stop giving it orders. Instead, you start a conversation. You use its incredible speed to synthesize and find stuff instantly, while you, the human, bring all the critical thinking and the actual interpretation to the table. And this new workflow, it's a total game changer. Think about it. The AI does all the grunt work, the heavy lifting of finding patterns and pulling out quotes. And that frees you up to do the really important stuff, asking the smart questions, testing your ideas, and digging for those real deep insights. It completely flips the script on how this work gets done. And just how effective is this new way of working? Well, the AI itself estimated that for a lot of projects, it could probably generate about 80% of the insights that would normally take you weeks of manual work to find. And it does it in minutes. I mean, that's not just faster, that's a whole different league. And this is so important to understand. This isn't about replacing people. It's about making them better. It's about letting you spend your brain power on the stuff that actually matters, the deep thinking, the interpretation, the stuff that humans are really good at. Okay, so all of this brings us to the big takeaway. And it's summed up perfectly by a classic story about innovation. The researcher brings up that famous old quote, you've probably heard it, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And that's the question here, right? With a new technology like AI, are we just trying to build a faster horse? Are we just trying to do the same old things, but a little bit quicker? Because that's really the heart of this whole story. The real opportunity, the real breakthrough, happens when we stop trying to build a faster horse and we start inventing the automobile. It's not about speeding up old processes. It's about inventing entirely new and way more powerful ones. And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. Take a look around at your own work, your own life. Where are you trying to build a faster horse? What are the things you're just trying to speed up when maybe, just maybe, there's an opportunity to completely transform them instead? That's the real challenge and the real promise of these new tools.